Hello and welcome. Today is Saturday, the 21st of October. And I'm going to do my best to get at least through the first 10 minutes that's going to be on YouTube without crying. That's my goal. Okay, bleed throughs is kind of the subject of the day. And also, which is what this is part of, a couple of announcements in case the subscribers haven't, in case my email is going to their spam folder or whatever. There is a live Q&A on Tuesday, my Tuesday, for subscribers to the site. And on Thursday, we are actually going to do some work on a webinar around this whole bleed through subject and process. It feels like what's going on for me personally is these subjects come up and I get really pushed. We need to do this right now. We need to address this right now as a group, as a collective. Do it consciously because it's just going to be so much easier than being dragged by the hair through this unconsciously. So they're sort of going to be spontaneously coming up. So keep an eye on the events page because I forget to make certain announcements. Okay, so there's a bit of a story to tell, which is kind of, I find an interesting story, but also helps you see how I came to what I came to. And I'm going back probably, 4 to 6 weeks. I woke up one morning with that floater in my eye that I've talked about. And then within, I'd say 12 hours of that, there were these flashes going off in the corner of my eye. And for the first couple of weeks, I was just putting up with it, not really. I wonder what it is. That's a bit annoying. I thought for a minute maybe I had a parasite in my eye. But it took me a couple of weeks to realize that the shape that it was holding, it hadn't changed and hadn't moved. And so I did some work with it when I was in Melbourne with Alicia and saw that it was actually like an overlay. I thought initially implant, but then went to overlay. And the flashes were somehow playing a part in trying to deactivate. And then, but around the same time as the eye thing started, so did this cough. And it's quite an odd cough. But what's happened over the last week, maybe 10 days, is there's this aspect of myself that turns up for other people that I have seen and felt on the odd occasion, very odd occasion. But she turns up for other people, like even random people or people I don't personally know, but maybe they know me, watching me on YouTube or something. Will they send me an email when they've woken up from knowing they're doing some work in sleep time and say, you were there, but it's this version of you and they always describe her the same way. That looks like Lara Croft or Katniss from Hunger Games. She's this young, tough, kick-ass thing that's out there doing stuff. And she kept coming up again. And I had work. A friend of mine did some hands-on work, and this oily black smoke energetically came up and out of me. I was like, what the hell is that? That was weird. And then saw this aspect of myself underground. She was working underground. She had kind of like, what's his name? I can't remember. The guy in X-Men who has to wear the visor because he's laser eyes or whatever. She had this thing across her eyes to help her see in the dark. Not quite like infrared goggles, but something like that. And there was low oxygen. And the second time I saw her, I knew that there had been an explosion, hence all the smoke. Anyway, the other day, it was only a few days ago, I saw her again. She came up from underground and everything shifted. And it was like it stuffed. This was all connected to her and what she was doing. Then I've got a friend who's injured herself, left knee, right wrist. And there's something related and funky about that feels connected to this whole bleed through thing. And this afternoon, because the lungs also hold grief. So there's so many things going on at the same time. And every week it's like something new, a new issue, a new frequency, a new job to do gets added to the menu. We're not really necessarily going through waves anymore. It's just more and more just keeps getting piled on and piled on. And so the other collective, and I know this is collective, is a release of grief, which again feels connected to these galactic aspects of ours. Potentially, in some cases, past life aspects of ours. But a lot of it is ours. It's new grief. It's not this deep, old childhood trauma stuff. This feels like grief that we've had since maybe 2012. For some, since 16. And for others, since 2020, when all of this current narrative, the world changed. The stuff that we have just had to, the fear and the pain of what we've seen go on, of the stories that we've been given about what is going to, like for some people, they're adamant about everybody that's had the jab is going to have a tragic outcome. So fear around that, fear around just having to turn their life upside down and reevaluate it. And most of us have had to swallow all of that just to keep going. And so it's deep. It feels really deep, but it doesn't feel old. And when I was trying to track it for myself, I couldn't go back past 2012. And then I tried to do my thing where I read the collective grief that's being expressed. It didn't go back further than 2012. So that's just another layer of what's going on with this bleed through stuff. The other way this bleed through is showing up is in flu-like symptoms, the chills, the weird temperature, body temperature. And it might only last a few minutes, or it might last a few hours, or it might keep you in bed for a day, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't eventuate into anything. And then you're fine. Or you also know, even though you're feeling all of that and maybe your body should be aching and stuff like that, but it doesn't quite get there either. And energetically, you still feel good, but this is all sort of on the surface. It's just so much to try and process at the moment. I can't remember when it was again, but there was a show that Alicia and I did, and I think one of these updates was called "It Begins Now," and it was it was that message I got from home that the war was over and it begins now. Well, this is part of that. is what I also was taken back to. That the reason we're going through this now, this galactic sort of bleed through and everything, is because... Hi, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in the full 1.5 hour conversation, link is in the description. And if not, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.